Hello everybody, this is Brooksy from the Bramley Blues. This is a neutral zone video. Today I am at Villa Park. It's Newcastle against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. Should be a belting game. Two attacking teams, two Champions League teams. Let's see how we get on. Hello, this is Brooksy from Bramley Blues. This is our neutral zone video for this week. I'm at Villa Park for Newcastle against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. Should be a belting game, two Champions League sides with varying fortunes at the moment. I don't think Newcastle have won in the last five. A bit of pressure on Eddie Howe, which is a bit strange really, but you know, it's what it's like when you're at a big club, unfortunately. Villa are flying high, doing really well. However, they have got some injury concerns. It'll be interesting to see how both of the teams line up. With European football ahead of them, making sure that they're still going to try and get into the European places. So I guess we'll have to see how they go. Should be an exciting game. I'm hoping that they make a load of changes, and from a neutral point of view, let's hope it's a 4-3 thriller. So who? I guess we'll have to see. However, you would guess, based on current form and the fact that we're at Villa Park, that Villa would edge as favourites at the start of this game. But it's the FA Cup and anything can happen. Let's hope for a belting game. Right, let's go inside, have a look at the team news. Hello, this is Brooksy from the Bramley Blues. This is your starting 11 for Newcastle against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. We're going to start with Aston Villa, the home team. In goal, Marco Bizzo, Bogard, Lindelof, Torres and Dean are the back four. In midfield, Onana, Luis, Barkley, Leon Bailey and Morgan Rogers. They'll be supporting Tammy Abraham up front. With regards to Newcastle United, Ramsdale starts in goal. Back four of Trippier, Chow, Byrne and Hall. The three in midfield are Sula, Tonali and Ramsey. And three forward or attacking players are Jacob Murphy, Nick Walter-Marder and Harvey Barnes. Let's see how we go. It should be a good attacking game. I'll see you at half time. Bramley Blues. It's a neutral zone video, it's half time, it's Aston Villa 1, Newcastle 0. Really interesting FA Cup tie here. Aston Villa took the lead on 15 minutes. Ross Barkley was upended. It looked like Morgan Rogers was going to shoot from the free kick, but Douglas Luiz chipped the ball into the area. To Tammy Abraham, who chested it down, swiveled and fired it in for a deserved 1-goal lead at the time. Newcastle have been okay, they've moved the ball around quite nicely. The difference between the two teams really is the fact that Newcastle seem to be struggling up front. They don't quite seem to be as sharp up front as Aston Villa. In terms of Aston Villa's other chances, Tammy Abraham has had a shot blocked. Also been a nice strike from Douglas Luiz that went over the bar. But just before half time, Aston Villa goalkeeper Bizzo was sent off. Aston Villa had a corner, but the ball was played short. As the ball was played in, the player slipped, got cleared, and ended up being three Newcastle players versus Bizzo, the goalkeeper. And Bizzo, as the ball was tapped past him, booted the Newcastle player up in the air, and he's had a straight red. So it'll be interesting to see how Newcastle adapt and how Aston Villa adapt. Martinez has come in goal for Aston Villa. Obviously Bizzo had to leave the field. It could be even worse for Aston Villa. Luca Dean was a challenge against the right winger of Newcastle. Boots him right up in the air. It looked a late one and he didn't have to do a few spins. I think it was Jacob Murphy who he tackled. Just having a look now at the replay, he's lucky to not get away with the red card there, because I think if VAR had been here, Luca Dean may well have shown his marching orders. However, there's lots to play for now. There's still Aston Villa has been the better team. They've had the better chances. Newcastle have been sharp, but not really had that cutting edge up front. However, they've got an extra man in the second half, so it'll be interesting to see how this game pans out. All to play for. Aston Villa 1, Newcastle. Aston Villa 1, Newcastle 3. Aston Villa go out of the FA Cup. Key moment in the game was when Bezo got sent off just before half-time. Before that, I thought Aston Villa were the better side. However, the second half was very difficult for Villa. Couldn't really get out. Newcastle played well, kept the ball, moved Villa around as you would expect, especially in the wide areas. It was an interesting, for the equaliser, what happened was it looked like a penalty shout. The ball was crossed in, it hit Luca Dean on the arm. It looked like he was in the area, but the referee gave it a free kick outside the box. Ball was chipped in. Defended pretty well from Aston Villa. However, the ball came back to Tonali at the edge of the area. A crisp right foot shot. They took a deflection and heads into the far corner. Villa huffed and puffed. They brought on substitutes to try and change the game, but ultimately Newcastle continues to take control. Second goal was a carbon copy of the first one. Some nice play midfield. Ball came out to Tonali, who again hit the same corner, arrowed a lovely right foot shot into the corner. Villa huffed and puffed and tried to push Newcastle back, but ultimately the Champions League team were just a bit too slick for them. They kept the ball, drew the sting out of Aston Villa and scored just on, I think it was 89 minutes. Confusion in the penalty area for Aston Villa, tried to clear it, overplayed, poor pass in the penalty area. The ball eventually bobbled to Nick Waltemada, who smashed it home for a 3-1 victory. So Newcastle fans you can hear in the background celebrating their win. Fair play to them. We'll see how they crack on in the next round. For Villa, it was a case of what could have been. First half was great, second half was poor, but ultimately it was because Bezo was sent off. It wasn't for the want of trying, it wasn't for the want of trying to play, but ultimately I think Newcastle had too much for them in the second half, especially with the extra man. Full time here, it's Aston Villa 1, Newcastle 3.